All right, welcome everyone back to the Executive Client Spotlight, here with Sandra Rathie. And Sandra, tell everyone where you're from.
I grew up in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay. And so that's where you grew up, and then where's your business currently based?
Yeah, I'm in South Florida, so between Miami and Fort Lauderdale in Weston.
Okay, and well, tell us, how'd you end up from Massachusetts down into Florida?
Yeah, there were a lot of moves in between.
Okay.
Just a lot of moves and moving around. My husband worked for Caterpillar, so just a couple different job moves for myself and then for him, and then we ended up down here about 15 years ago.
Wow. All right. And so one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, hence the title, is your involvement with really college recruiting or college internship programs in your business. Mm-hmm. And before we dive deep into that, just tell everyone exactly how your business is set up and what it looks like.
Sure. So we are in the process of growing. I am obviously the lead of the team. I don't really produce that much anymore. So I have a couple of heavy listing agents and then a couple of buyer's agents and a couple that are just kind of mixed.
Okay.
I do have 10 agents on the team. I'm going to say, really only 5 are really producing yet. Some of the other ones are just brand new agents.
Okay.
We have, in terms of staff, we have a virtual assistant from India, and then we have 2 transaction coordinators, and then the intern.
Got it. So you got a couple buyer agents, a couple listing agents, you got some newer agents that you're bringing up, your virtual admin, 2 transaction coordinators, and then of course the interns, which we'll get to, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And so all of that, volume-wise, unit-wise, what does that look like for you?
Right now, year to date, we're sitting right about 55 million.
Okay.
Last year we closed 55 million, so we're at the same point as we were the full year last year.
Congratulations. Nice work. Nice work. All right, so let's get to it. So college interns, how did it all begin?
It was just a conversation with a productivity coach actually in the office, and just trying to come up with better ways to be more productive without spending a lot of money. And this was back when it was really just myself and a couple of agents, kind of in the beginning stages of the true concept of the team. And, just came up with the idea of let's go out and get some free labor and, bring some fresh eyes to the team. And so it kind of just started from there. And, like anything I do, I just jump full force in. And I think we started right off with like 3 interns the first semester. And we've pretty much maintained between 3 and 5 every semester.
And how long ago did you start this?
It was probably 3 years ago.
Okay. So you started 3 years ago, right? Obviously you wanted some, we'll just say affordable help, right? Right, some affordable leverage in the business. And then what was the process as far as going to the college? Which college did you go to and how did you reach out?
Yeah, good question. So every college kind of has their own way that they do it. So you have to call each college individually or do a little bit of homework online to find how do they advertise. And then some schools, it's hard to get into them. So we just started off with all the local colleges that were within a 30-minute drive and just give them a call and find out what their process is. A lot of them do it through like a handshake, Chegg kind of account.
Yeah.
I also found that Indeed actually gives you a broader range of people. So most of our recruiting, I would say, comes from Indeed, although we do get some directly from the schools.
Yeah, and so you brought up Handshake. And so for those of you guys that aren't familiar with Handshake, first off, if you go to any college website, right, there will be a career department on there somewhere, right? And it's a place where students can go and even alumni can go to get help with their career resources. And one of the links in there will say for employers, right, or for business owners. When you click on that, about 75% of colleges operate off a universal platform called Handshake. And Handshake is basically a third party where you can go, you can register yourself as a business owner, right? And then once you do, you can then have access to that university's internship opportunities, job postings, career fairs, right, which are big. And it's in essence how you become affiliated and then can interact with the university and find out the opportunities for you as an employer, correct?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
All right. And the cool thing is, usually there's someone who staffs that career development office or whatnot. So like you said, you can find the, when you're in that page, there's usually a phone number you can call and actually talk to someone. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, colleges and universities have a vested interest in job placement, right?
Right.
They want to partner with local businesses and especially small businesses to have those relationships so they can place their students, right, with employment or with internship programs. Mm-hmm. Right? And so, all right, so you started this again 3 years ago, right? You figured it all out. And then in the beginning, what did that look like in the business? You brought in 3 of them. What were they doing?
I would say in the beginning, it was a little more haphazard, because we didn't really know what we were going to have them do and what were they capable of doing. And over the years, we've definitely figured out a lot more things that they're capable of doing and also realized the things that they shouldn't be doing. So it was a little bit of a trial and error, but it's really been a great experience. They really are capable of so many things that I never even thought we could have them do in the beginning.
Yeah, all right. So let's itemize. What are those things that they are capable of doing?
Are capable of?
Yeah, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and again, I would caution everybody that it depends on the individual person. Just like when you hire somebody for an admin or a real estate person, everybody has their own set of skills. So you have to look at each individual as what are they bringing to the table, and you can't force them into something that they're not going to be good at. So we always try to take a look at, okay, what is each of the individuals? What is their strength and what are they interested in? And then we try to focus them in that area. As we all know, we are a small business, so we have all aspects. We have marketing, we have advertising, we have finance, we have admin. So you can always kind of steer them in whatever direction they are best suited for. One of the main things that we use people for is a lot of like our processing of the files after the transaction is finished. So the intern will take care of updating the databases, asking for reviews, making sure that all the paperwork gets submitted properly to the office. Things that it's not super time sensitive. So if it doesn't happen, like if they call in sick today and it happens 2 days from now, we're going to be okay. And that does require somebody with a good attention to detail. But that's definitely like one of our strongest needs is that type of job. And then we have some interns that are great on the phone. Like we'll put them on the phone. They'll call, they'll help invite people for events. They'll call and ask people, like what are they looking for in a home? Different things like that. Just depends on the personality. Not everybody can be put on the phones, but the ones that are very outgoing, the high eyes, we get them on the phone.
So, all right. So you have them do database updates, right? So when the file closes and we have got to update, new mailing address, et cetera, for a client, right? Mm-hmm. They're doing that. You can have them implement your review system, right? Asking for reviews and managing that system. Yep. You've got them, processing files, with the market center, right? Compliance or whatever is needed there.
Yep.
Not my strong suit.
Not most agents.
Right? I wouldn't even know where to go. You put them on the phones. So if you're doing client events, you can have them calling, talking to your database, inviting them to events, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Because by the way, for those of you guys listening, if you don't know this, but if you went and you did an internship with name a financial services company, Merrill Lynch, guess what they make you do all day? Right? Make phone calls. Make phone calls. But like you said, we don't want to force the ones that don't want to make calls to do calls, but there are some that are great with making customer service calls, right?
Right.
And then you also said you put them on the phones to, now are they talking to leads or doing needs analysis? Is that?
Sometimes, we'll have them, some of the stronger ones, we'll have them, just sit down and go through a bunch of buyer leads that nobody's been able to get to. They've been a little non-responsive, and just see if they can pick somebody up.
So that's called lead gen. So you can actually, but we can call it customer service, right? We can have them make customer service calls to inactive or dormant leads and see what they can shake up.
Exactly.
Amazing, right? Okay, what else? do you have them do, or have you had them do in the past?
Yeah, another one that's really good is we do drop-off gifts a couple times a year, and
Okay.
they are great for doing that. They make the tags, they buy the items, put them in the bags. Usually we do about 100 at a time, and then we have the intern actually go out and deliver them. In the past, we've delivered them ourselves, where we knock on the door and we're trying to actually have a conversation with the client. But through the pandemic, because things changed, we had the interns just drop them off, which actually saved us a lot of time. And we still had a lot of conversations with people texting us back, thanking us. They were really touched by it, even though we didn't see them in person.
Love it. So you do Popeyes, right? Is what people know it by. You have them put them together, you have them drop them off. Love that. Obviously, they're good as runners. So any lockbox signs, flyers, anything out in the field, they could make great runners, right? All right. Anything else on the capable list that we should put on here?
On the capable list.
Things that they should be doing?
Yeah, I have them do some financial reporting. So some of those like monthly reports, as soon as the KW reports come out, I have them putting together reports so that we can analyze where do the agents stand from actual versus goal. Okay. So I have a bunch of spreadsheets. I was an accountant before this, so I'm a numbers girl. So the interns will put that together so we can take a look and see, okay, how many more sales do we need to get under contract for the agent to be on goal? How many Zillow reviews have they gotten compared to their goal? We have thermometers in the office that we fill in the thermometers, and really create some good tools so that we can make sure everybody's staying on track.
I love it. You're having them do gap analysis.
Exactly.
Agents, right? How do the agents feel when that intern is looking at them saying, hey, you're only 75% on goal. You got to pick it up.
Yeah, the intern doesn't deliver that.
I know. I know.
That's a good idea, especially when it's bad.
It's very humbling for the agent, right? All right. So what are some of the things they shouldn't do? Because you've obviously gone down that path before.
Yeah, I think that the phone calls is a very delicate situation. You really have to make sure you're comfortable with the intern. Speaking to current clients, people that are already under contract, I would say you just got to be really careful. Some people get a little crazy. I think anything that's very detail oriented, you have to make sure that the intern that you're having do it is detail oriented. If you're trusting them with your database, you want to make sure before you release them there that they're going to do it and do it correctly. Like we had one intern who I think was a little dyslexic. Everything she did, it was backwards. So that was kind of a quick discovery, and she was much better at being the runner, dropping things off, going to Home Depot, making key copies, things like that. I think you just have to really be aware with these interns and keep an eye on, what are they good at? And you have to read it pretty fast when they get there. Because it is a short time. You only got them, if it's in the summer, it's 2.5 months. If it's during the school year, it's maybe 4 months. Yeah. So you've got to hit the ground running fast and figure out what are they capable of.
Yeah, but as far as, you make a great point. Obviously, current clients that are in contract that are under stress that, can sometimes get a little sideways. Maybe the intern isn't the best one to be handling that hot potato sometimes, right? Yeah. All right, fair point. So let me go back for a minute as far as, the interns that you're targeting, right? So I know we talked about calling the university your handshake, the career department, figuring that out for your local college or university. Is there a certain major that you're looking for?
That's a good question. I'm pretty flexible. We've had business, finance, journalism, real estate, marketing. So, we're pretty open to all of those. I like the finance because they're usually very detail oriented, accounting or finance, they're detail oriented. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind, how am I benefiting them? So it's not a one-way street. It has to be a two-way street where they're getting something out of it. So for instance, you wouldn't want to bring in an accounting major and have them be doing social media. Right. That's probably not what they're looking to gain, and they need something to take back, put on their resume. So you got to think about the give and take. It's got to be a win-win.
Yeah, and then when you bring them on, are you bringing them on, just during their breaks, like winter break or summer break, spring break, or do you have them actually during the semester as well?
Oh, they're here during the semester. And we've been very lucky. A few times we've had interns who started like maybe even mid-semester, or they started and they really enjoyed it and they stayed for an entire semester, and then maybe they stayed for another semester or summer at the same time. I'm sorry, my computer's ringing. So yeah, they're usually here during the whole semester.
Okay. So it's not just breaks. They're actually there during the semester while they're going to school, getting real world, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I like what you said. Obviously, we can't just be making them run around the whole time. They do want something they can put on their resume that's actually benefiting them, that's mm-hmm. giving them that real world experience, out there, in a business.
Right. And one thing I didn't mention, which is actually, I think, one of the best things for them to do is open houses. With the pandemic, we've gone to a format where we're doing most showings by an open house, which means
hang on, you're frozen.
You do need more than one person at an open house. Are we back?
Yeah, you're back. All right, so go into that. So as you're doing open houses, obviously, in lieu of scheduled showings, so to speak. And then how does the intern help in that?
Yeah, so the interns, sometimes we have lines out the door. We have 25, 30 sets of people trying to come see a house at the same time. So an intern can either be taking the names, writing them down, or if they could be scheduled showings, but within like a 2-hour block, the intern can be helping check off on the list, like who's there, keeping everybody organized. And then sometimes we have the intern will walk through the house with people. By the time they're more comfortable, they're super happy to walk through, ask questions, and do the best that they can to answer the buyer's questions.
Got it. What's the average length of time that an intern is with you in the business? Is it for a semester, 2 semesters, a year?
I would say usually it's a semester, but we have had really good luck with, like, once a year we get an intern who will stay for like 2 sessions. Mm-hmm. It's amazing because then they can train new interns. I don't have to figure out who's going to train them. That intern will just train everybody. Yeah. And then by the time they're at the end of one semester, they know so much. They're really, really helpful by that point.
Yeah. Now, okay, so let's talk about where I think this is most exciting. What happens after the internship program, right? Like and I know you're 3 years into it, but like how is this, unfolding for you and developing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's really fun to watch. So far we've probably had like 5 or 6 of them get their license at the end of the internship. So far, we have 2 that are full-time agents with us now, and a 3rd one is taking her test now. So, yeah, and that's the best, because if you think about it, that was a 4 to 6 month interview.
Yeah.
Them doing the internship, it was like 4 to 6 months of an interview, and then at the end they join us, and they already know so much about us. I don't have to do the onboarding is so much easier with somebody who's been with us all that time.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get on my soapbox here for a second, right? Because, this is something that Fortune 500 and 100 companies have figured out a long, long time ago, right? Because they recruit from colleges. Mm-hmm. They go to the college fairs that happen in the fall, in the winter, in the summer, right? They know that, hey, colleges and universities, I say, are people factories, right? Every year they're stamping out, people that are excited to go into the workforce, right, and go succeed. And they know that for them is the top of their funnel that they bring into their business, right? And then, they work them up through the ranks over the years, right? Mm-hmm. But colleges and universities is their starting point.
Right.
And what's interesting, if you go to any job fair at a college, I mean, now that we're out of pandemic, they're coming back in person, but who knows what will happen now, right? But one thing that's missing is residential real estate. Commercial real estate's figured it out, right? Financial services has figured it out. Mm-hmm. Residential real estate has not. And it's a big missing, because the one thing that top teams like you struggle with, right? You got to figure it out. But a lot of teams struggle with recruiting, right? Mm-hmm. And the challenge now, especially with inflation and salaries and trying to find, good workers, is a challenge right now. But if you go to the source, right, the fountain of youth, if you will, that every year is producing ready, willing, and able, people that want to come in and succeed, we would have no recruiting issues. Right? Because in essence, what you're doing with your program is you're kind of like building that bench, that pipeline, that farm team. Mm-hmm. Some will convert over, others will go, on and do other things, which is fine. But I mean, imagine what that looks like as it continues to grow.
Right. And they word of mouth, like we end up getting more and more quality people because the agents who join the team, they're telling their friends, and then they're telling their friends.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that I think is really exciting. Now the agents that got licensed that are on the team, how long have they been there in production?
One girl, she hasn't even graduated college yet. She did the internship from January till like July, and then I have one who's been with us since like halfway through the pandemic, and she hit the ground running. Like she's already sold probably $5 million.
All right, so she's done 100,000 in GCI or so, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, and now her net on that's probably 50, 60,000, I'm guessing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she's probably, that's what, almost a year, not quite a year?
Yeah, probably not even a year.
So she's going to finish out earning what, 75, 80,000 year one?
Yep.
Where else can they go do that?
Nowhere.
Right? Where else? Look, if they come out of college and they go work for, Enterprise Rent-A-Car or whatever these other companies that recruit heavily out of college, right? They're going to make 30, 40, maybe 50,000 if they're lucky.
Yep.
Yet, if they come into residential real estate, look, they're making 75, 80,000 year one. By year two, they're in six figures, mm-hmm. right? In 5 years, they can be in your seat, right? They're not going to do that at Mutual of Omaha.
Right, exactly.
Right? And if we can just tell that story, which you are proving that to be true, right? Mm-hmm. That's powerful. That's powerful, right? And I love what you said, that when you have them as an intern, because everyone says, I don't want people that are fresh. I don't want new people because you have to train them.
Right.
Yet, like you said, you've got basically a 4 to 6 month interview process and training process, because as an intern, they might be running around, out in the field doing lock boxes or pop buys or whatnot, but they're absorbing everything, right?
Yeah, and not only are they absorbing, they're in the office with me. I'm in the office. They're hearing me on the phone. They're hearing the TCs on the phone. They're learning way faster than an actual agent.
Sandra, why do more agents not do this?
Really, because you have to slow down to speed up. That's
right.
Really, I think, what it comes down to, because you have to slow down to do the recruiting. You have to slow down to find the right people, and then somebody has to be in charge of them. And I think that's the hard part for most agents. It's easier to do it yourself, but in order to grow, you have to have the leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. So you bring up a great point, right? Obviously they have to report to someone. They're in the office with you. Do they report directly to you, or, obviously you've got your virtual assistant, your 2 TCs, but any director of operations or anyone that oversees it?
I don't have those at this point. I have been trying to have some of them report to the TCs, and then this last couple of rounds, we had a few interns that actually reported directly to agents. I helped recruit them, right, and then get them set up, and then the agents kind of took over from there. And then I usually have two interns that will just be more project-based.
Right.
Especially in the summer, we do a lot of cleanup, a lot of database cleanup, anniversary cards, things like that you can do a big project and have more interns involved in. And then during the school year, it's usually a little bit less interns.
Yeah. So where do you see, obviously you're building a great bench, you're building a great pipeline, right? They're converting over to being, producing agents on the team, right? Where does this go from here for you?
I would ideally like to see every single agent on my team having an intern. I think it would be a great experience for them to have somebody who they're in charge of, and that would help them develop their leadership skills too.
Interesting.
So in an ideal world, that's what I'd like to see. At least the agents that are a little bit more seasoned, that they would have somebody that they could rely on. And then we have more in the office. Eventually we'll have a director of sales, and most of the interns in the office will report to that position.
That's awesome. I can tell you who your future director of sales is. It's that intern who's crushing it out there right now in her first, 8 months,
Right.
that's 2 years. She's your director of sales, or he, whoever it is. That's awesome. So I love, that's a big, exciting picture that everyone on the team would have their own admin, or their own intern rather, right? Their own leverage. And it's the most affordable leverage you can have. And it's in a win-win way, right? In a win-win, situation where they're benefiting as much as we are.
Exactly.
Right? That part's exciting. Now, I brought up job fairs. Have you explored job fairs, since you've gotten into this?
Nope, I sure haven't.
Okay.
And it's definitely an opportunity out there, but it's just, we've never gone that route.
Yeah. So this is something that I've worked on for a little bit, and here's what's cool. You can actually send your interns to go do the job fairs. Because for the teams that have actually taken this on, right? Because job fairs are a great recruiting source, not just for interns, right? You don't need to do them, but I mean, talk about building a pipeline. But what happens is, if you go to a job fair at a college, on average, you're going to have anywhere from 35 to 50 plus students stop by and fill out interest cards, right? They come by the booth because, think about it. Residential real estate is actually pretty exciting now. All the TV shows, Million Dollar Agent, right? All these shows out there really glorify residential real estate, I think, in a positive light, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just, it's not just a hobby. It's a true, opportunity. And so what happens is you sit at a job fair, you'll have 35, 50 students stop by, fill out interest cards, at which point you can then invite them to a career night or do a virtual career night, which you can keep funneling it down. Those who show up, great. Those who then raise their hand and want to take the next step towards, applying for an internship or even applying for a position on the team, there you have it. Right? They're that simple, and they can be run by interns.
Sure. Great idea.
Right? Yeah. Or are any of the interns in sororities or fraternities?
Yes.
We have a great team who hired a really phenomenal ISA who had been in a sorority, and it's been a amazing opportunity as she spreads the word, right, to her friends that she's in college with about the opportunity. It's just been a great referral source to bring more talent into a team as well.
Absolutely.
You get into those little niches and it just keeps opening and opening. And the reality is the opportunity is endless. That's why I call it the fountain of youth, right? If we can just start, we will never have any recruiting or people challenges again.
Right. And just to add to that a little bit, not only do I recruit at colleges, I also will put it on Facebook. I have newsletters. I'll put it in the newsletters. So, even my neighborhood is getting the opportunity to apply. We just had one intern who my daughter used to play with when she was 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Word of mouth is getting out there. And then, again, the interns who we have now, their friends are coming back to us. So it's kind of neat to watch the process. And we're also giving back to the community by helping their kids. Like one of the ones that we had recently, he was really struggling with getting an internship, and he needed one for college. May not have been our top intern, but we gave him the opportunity. We found things that would work for him. We probably looked past some of the things that maybe another employer would have looked at. And it turned out to be a great experience. We gave him things he could handle, and he finished the internship, and he's able to graduate college because of it.
Right on, right on. So I don't know. I think this is really inspiring. It's one of the things I'm most excited about, right? And, kudos to you for taking it on and really, proving that it does work, right? And not only that, 3 years into it, and you got 2 licensed. One is out there crushing it. The other one, I'm sure, will do the same. That's exciting. So, okay, any final words that you'd want to share with people about the experience?
I guess I would just like to add that for me, it's also very personally rewarding, not just from a business standpoint, but it's really fun to watch these kids. They come in on their first day, all nervous and quiet, and we watch them blossom. We watch them become actual business people. And so it feeds your soul. It doesn't just feed your closed sales. It actually feeds your soul, and it makes you feel really good about we're helping them. We're helping them become better employees.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to circle back in a year and see, the progress and the other exciting opportunities and the interns that have stepped into the sales position as well, or even admin positions.
Yeah.
So no, I love what you're doing. Thanks so much for sharing with everybody. We appreciate you for doing that.
All right. Thanks for having me.